Welcome to the Really Likable Geeks podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Stuart.
And this is the podcast where we talk about nerd stuff and things that keep from going outside, like video games, consoles, board games, and other things alike. Blech. Words are hard.
That was good.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Cool. Whatever.
Just take 30. Let's keep going.
Yeah. How are you guys doing? We didn't do anything last week.
No, we were on hiatus.
We were. Some things came up, and so that's why we were absent. We didn't exactly announce that we
Matt
weren't
died.
Somber
And,
note for me. It was a memorial.
Yeah.
We had to create
Our
a lich
condolences.
out of Matt. So this is no longer Matt. This is a simulcra of Matt.
a simulcra.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's an
Book of
X
the
on the
week.
end of that, but it's
Book of the week. Fahrenheit 451.
that's hot.
Oh my gosh.
It was going to happen.
I knew there was going to be so many fire jokes.
I was waiting for that since I saw the book on the table.
This is the 60th anniversary edition. 60th? 60 years. That's a long time. How long was Dune? How long ago was Dune?
I believe it was first serialized in science fiction magazines in 63.
Jeez.
But first published like 64.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
65.
Jeez.
So it depends on what you look at.
Yeah, right. 60 years of this. This book is incredible. It's by Ray Bradbury.
What's it about?
Well, you haven't read it?
Everyone over the age of 14 has read it. They make you read it in high school.
Very true.
She said,
Okay, I'm sorry. Apparently, if you went to honors classes, they make you read it.
ooh, shots fired to the peanut gallery.
Gosh. All right. So the synopsis is, let's see here. Oh, sorry. This is the 60 years, so I got to look for it. So, okay. It's, how did you pronounce his last name? It's Montag? I think it's Montag. Montag? Okay, sure.
Montag.
We'll go with that.
French.
Yeah, okay. Guy Montag is a fireman.
But all right, keep going.
His job is to destroy the most illegal of commodities, the printed book, along with the houses in which they are hidden. Montag never questions the destruction and ruin his actions produce, returning each day to his bland life and wife Mildred, who spends all day with her television family. But when he meets an eccentric young neighbor, Clarice, who introduces him to a past where people didn't live in fear and to a present where one sees the world through ideas in books instead of the mindless chatter of television, Montag begins to question everything he has ever known. Mm-hmm. It's a really good book.
It is.
It's really good.
It is. I think it's an interesting juxtaposition of firefighters who start fires instead of extinguishing them.
Yes.
It's also funny to look back and see the version of the future from 60 years ago, and it's got some things absolutely right. I think
How ridiculously spot on it is kind of scary on some
well,
parts.
Some things.
Yeah.
I think the vicariously living your life through a fake family is spot on, because I can name like 10 different reality shows where people live vicariously through other people.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Kardashians is the most obvious one that comes to mind.
All the Real Housewives.
The Real Housewives shows is
so
another
real.
great example of that. Yeah, it's so real, but it's not.
Yeah.
Have you seen the fake Housewives?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah, I have.
Clearly
It's called The Real Housewives.
Oh. Well, then why are they real?
They need to
That's
put
false
they
advertising.
need to
Good
put,
television.
they need to put real in
Good.
quotation
Quotation.
mark. So I think it's interesting
Yeah.
to see. I don't think we've gotten to quite the point of mass book burning. Not
quite.
Not quite.
not quite. It's also interesting to note that historically this book was banned in a lot of libraries because of its controversial nature. It's very anti-government, anti-establishment.
The contents of this book have
Anti-dis-
impacted a lot in society. Surprisingly.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism?
Yeah.
SAT word.
It's also the longest word in the English language.
That too. Good book. You can pick it up for about $15.
Excellent.
Standard book price.
Yeah. It's a book.
It's a book. And yeah, pick it up. It's really good. Good read. Definitely
Make sure
recommend
you
it.
buy it on your Kindle. That way, they can't burn it.
How interesting that it's called a Kindle Fire. Oh, goodness. Pick it up. Good book. Fahrenheit 451 is our book of the week.
Fantastic.
So, Matt, what are we talking about this week?
Well, this week, what with it being about 7 days now, a little bit less, from International Tabletop Day,
Yeah.
I figure we talk about games.
Tabletop
specifically
games.
of the tabletop variety. We can talk about how they've come from where they were, the past, the present, the future. Maybe toss a few specific ones out here and there, but mostly just talk about the tabletop gaming, not specific games.
Okay.
Interesting.
So the history.
So I guess,
Sure.
we'll start with a little preface of tabletop gaming history. Obviously, everyone knows about the classic Milton Bradley, Parker Brothers, Monopoly, Life, things like that.
I suck at that game.
Well, I feel like
No,
that's
Life.
what, that's the board game, or
Yes.
okay.
No, you were supposed to
Do
keep
we
going.
ever really
Yeah.
stop playing?
Yes.
Even after the board game?
The problem is that
Yes.
Well, okay, yes. We do.
That's called death,
That's
Steve.
called death. You're right. Excuse
that's the
me.
game of death, which is different.
Haven't played that yet.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I have. Sorry. Anyways, go ahead. Continue.
We're all on the inexorable march towards it, so.
Yes. We're all eventually going to die.
Anyways,
So, yeah.
gonna continue my
Yeah, go ahead.
short. Anyways, I think a lot of us started out playing the simple board games, Sorry, Monopoly,
It's okay.
Life, and that's where a lot of us
Mandatory family night, right?
exactly game night with the
Mandatory family night?
Yeah, where your mom said, we're getting together on Friday night. We are going to play board games as a family.
gonna play
You don't get a
Parcheesi.
choice.
We're going to play Parcheesi.
Yeah, I mean, and you can go even further back:
Canasta.
chess, checkers, Go, shogi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Backgammon.
Backgammon.
Actually,
Chinese
some of my
checkers,
favorite tabletop games aren't actually like
cribbage.
board game. Yeah, we were in the store yesterday. I saw cribbage. I was like, man, I like cribbage. I don't have anybody to play with. But there was that other game that I said was really fun.
Dominoes.
Mancala.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mancala.
That's
So-
like
I haven't played that since
games that
elementary
like
school.
don't have like it's not like a Monopoly or whatever, like a Sorry. Where it's like pieces and cards and all that. It's such a simple thing. Just put some marbles into another one. Those are like
Just
some of my
take handfuls and move 'em.
like backgammon. I love
yeah,
backgammon.
I mean the
So fun.
Roll dice,
The-
move tablets.
The older board games range from the incredibly complex, like chess,
Yeah.
to the ones that are simplistic, like checkers or Mancala.
Yeah.
I think would fall into that. So I think that's where a lot of us, at least for me, that's where I got started, was playing Monopoly with my family. They were also overly big.
Yahtzee.
Yeah, Yahtzee. Trivial
Yahtzee's fun.
Pursuit was a big one that we played in my household.
Dude, there's so many of those too.
Which
There
is
is,
probably
but I
why
remember when
know
there-
You're talking about the
much
OG one
random-
that's just
I
like
remember when there was
everything.
just the original Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it. There was just the one version of
Yeah.
it.
There's a card in the original Trivial Pursuit that is wrong now.
Yeah.
Was that?
There's a card in the original Trivial
I'm sure
Pursuit
there's a
that
lot.
reads which of these actors has not played Batman, and the one that's the right answer is Ben Affleck. Only that's wrong now.
There's
didn't know that.
also
That's awesome.
there was also cards that like what is the most popular food in America, and I'm sure that's changed.
That's
I'm
probably
sure
different,
that's
yeah.
changed.
sure
Yeah.
that's changed in the 25 or 30 years since
Yeah.
that game came out. So I guess we
Good
all
old
started
Trivial
we all
Pursuit.
started off in those kind of simplistic.
Mm.
To us now, they're simplistic, especially with some of the board games or tabletop games that we play now. Lords of Waterdeep is an incredibly complex.
How many
Yeah.
pieces are in that thing?
I think the original way that I sold playing Lords of Waterdeep, which is a great Wizards of the Coast game, to you was, I think I said it's like Monopoly except it ends and it doesn't suck.
that may have been what you
I think
said.
that-
I just wanted to feel
He's like,
included, so I was like,
sold.
I'm sold.
Yeah.
He's like, there's actually an end goal.
Yeah, that's why,
Done.
and that was my problem. I remember as a kid, I didn't like Monopoly because there is not a set end game. Like chess has an end
Monopoly
game.
takes forever.
Monopoly.
I played a
doesn't-
lot of games.
All you have to do is cause everyone to go bankrupt.
I
But in
played a lot
capitalist
of games,
America, that
and
doesn't happen to
Yeah, that
anyone.
could take forever.
Monopoly is one of those games where I know getting into it, like this is going to be an endeavor, and it's
it will
going
ruin
to
friendships.
be monotonous, and it's going to be frustrating.
Monopolis?
Oh my god! Sure that, and it's just that game, there's so many different ways people play that game too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, which version of this, you know,
Can we do this the
Frustration
short version
fest
where
am I
we
gonna
can start
play
buying
today?
it on the first time around? Nope, gotta do it the real way. You gotta go all the way around once before you can buy.
okay.
And then also originally
frustrating.
the first pen and paper big game. There were other pen and paper fantasy games, but the big one that
breakout
took over was obviously Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
First Edition.
Yes.
And there's a long list of other pen and paper games that were around during that time period.
But none of them were as critically acclaimed as Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
For
none
sure.
of them were as big of a seller
Yeah.
as Dungeons and Dragons. So
And it got huge.
it did. It's
But
a global
lately,
phenomenon.
the pen and paper,
I
market
played it
of
in
games is like
Series 1.
really big now. It's really big now.
Yeah, there's
there's
so
so many. There's a lot actually. I was looking it up and I was like, wow, because I know Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and Star Wars, but then there's like Warhammer versions, like Warhammer 40,000, like or 40K, or whatever it is.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
There's a complicated game.
And
Yeah.
I've played the Warhammer tabletop RPG. It is incredibly complex.
It's very complex. So I play. Well, I used to. I used to play it at the card shop up here all the time, Magic and Pokemon and stuff like that. And there would be guys in there, like large, like big groups of people, just sitting and painting.
Yeah,
their little
those
Getting their
And
miniatures.
there's like a dude that's like this big. He's like, oh man, I spent like $400 on this guy. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And then there's like these massive, holy crap ones that are like
Several grand.
and I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah,
but
I
they're
remember.
awesome looking.
I
I'd get them
remember
just
when
'cause-
I was.
Oh, yeah.
I think
That's
I
a
was
gnarly game though.
I was like 12 or 13 when they opened up a games workshop in the Ontario Mills Mall. And I went in there with a friend, and that was like my first experience with that kind of version of tabletop gaming where there was these expansive. And the guys there were really nice. They like, have you guys ever played this before? Let us show you how to play. And
Yeah.
they went and they ran us through this entire scenario. And we're like, this is so cool, like amazing. And so we each bought like a starter kit, and we went home and like we painted them all. And I think it was at the point.
This is Warhammer, right?
Yeah, this is
Talking about?
Warhammer.
Okay.
And I think it was at the point where we started to try and play it that we realized, and I think this is the problem with Warhammer, is you can't have fun playing Warhammer with just the starter kit.
No,
You have to have.
you have to invest.
You have to spend a lot of money
really have
on
to
that
invest.
game to have fun with it.
yeah,
Because otherwise,
a lot.
Because you can't just like
you actually can't have fun with Warhammer. It's heresy.
yeah, yeah.
Cause a war. If you try to
Yeah,
have fun. No,
the emperor, the undying emperor does not allow fun.
No.
the undying emperor.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
I still remember.
That's fantastic.
So, and then that was
Friendship is magic. Magic is heresy.
yeah, magic is heresy. And so that was like my kind of that was me drawing back from that kind of level of tabletop gaming, because you need the giant tables with the hills and the trees and all
Yeah.
this other stuff.
There are people
to
that
really have fun with it.
build some
and they had it in
insane
they had it in Games
scenarios.
Workshop. Obviously, they
Yeah.
had the whole big thing, and showed us how to play with the measuring sticks, and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and it was a lot of fun in the game store because they had all the
They
stuff
had everything.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with my little 10-piece
Yeah.
starter set that I had painted
If-
very poorly.
For those of you who, because there are surprisingly a large group of people who actually
yeah,
don't know
there's
what
a lot.
Warhammer 40,000 is. If you don't know what Warhammer 40K is, look it up. Just Google it.
It is
the
complex.
most insane. I know what's happening, but I look at it,
It
some of the
is
stuff's down. I'm
yeah.
like, there's people that have like huge houses, and they're one of their rooms, and they've like modified it just for a Warhammer scenario, and it's just
yeah.
tables and dungeons and
3 or
gates
4
and
different
castles and
tables, just the wall
craziness.
covered
It's
in
crazy.
cabinets that just have nothing but
Yeah.
their troops in it.
With that though, is
the competitions are pretty insane.
They're real
too.
insane.
Those guys are
They're-
very serious
Yeah.
about
those guys
that
like
game.
like $3,000 is like the lowest they'll go to buy
get-
stuff.
to get like
crazy.
to be like competition like ready, it's at least $3,000 to $5,000.
It's nuts.
On pieces
Yeah.
and paint and time and on glue and like all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
nuts.
it's
if
an
you have not spent $5,000,
but you say-
you can't be competitive.
you're gonna get
Yeah,
you're gonna
you're
get,
gonna get
you're gonna
destroyed.
get your ass handed.
Yeah. You said, too, that like, yeah, that's one of those games that having all the pieces, makes it more fun. Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of, tabletop, dice and pen and paper games, not so much the case with that. However, what's that one? There's a company out there called Dwarf something that makes these really grand pieces for Dungeons and Dragons players, where you can make a whole dungeon, a whole castle, like everything. It's Dwarf something. I can't remember what it is. And I've looked at them. I'm like, man, that would make Dungeons and Dragons a lot
there's some
more
really
fun.
fun ones.
I can't remember what it's called.
Well,
Let
see,
me look it up really
that's the
quick.
difference is that with Dungeons,
Because I like to
and-
shout them out if you guys don't know about it, because
With-
their stuff is great.
with Dungeons and Dragons, it all takes place in your mind. Having pieces and actual boards and all of that is ancillary. It's not required. All you need is the book, the rule book.
Yeah. It's
And then from there, you can do whatever you want with it. You can, and a lot of people. The cool thing about Dungeons and Dragons and why it got so popular is because people took the book and then they expanded on it themselves. They made a lot of homebrew rules. So you had, and that was why they kept coming out with second edition, was because there was a demand for more complex
And you're
magical systems.
You're leading into why Paizo and Pathfinder exists.
Yeah.
Because this is all because Wizards of the Coast had Dungeons and Dragons open source. They were able to have people create new content and come up with their own original ideas and their own imagination, which is completely what Dungeons and Dragons was. You had the book, the DM read it to you, you pictured the scenario in your own imagination. And eventually with edition 4, they said no more open source, and a lot of people took offense to that.
Yeah, and that was when they had the split between Gygax and some other Wizards of the Coast originals who left and started Paizo, which became Pathfinder, which is the open source version of Dungeon.
They basically kept it
For
at
those
3.5.
for people that don't know, Pathfinder is Dungeons and Dragons, but it's free to make whatever you want on it. It's the difference between Apple and Microsoft. Or I guess Apple and Microsoft and Linux would be a better be a better description. Or Apple and Linux. Leave Microsoft out of that because they're kind of in between on a lot of things. It's funny because Microsoft has some things that are open source and some things
things that are just
that
like,
they
no,
just,
this is
that
it,
you
the
just
end.
won't. So I guess Apple and Linux
Yeah.
would be the best
Yeah.
description or an
Analogy.
analogy.
Yeah.
So I guess the other big thing that's kind of led, because we're in the middle of like a tabletop
Phenomenon.
revival.
Yeah.
I would say
Renaissance?
With the-
Renaissance would be another
With
good
the
word.
advent of being able to play, those games over the internet and live stream it to, a mass audience.
Well, I think
definitely grown over the years.
I think even before that, I think a lot of what the kind of renaissance of tabletop gaming, like we're seeing, there are more tabletop game companies and creators and devs than there have ever been. And I think part of that has to do with the kind of advent of party games.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of pushed the more complex systems forward was the most obvious party game that's a tabletop game is Cards Against Humanity.
yes.
Yeah.
That's everyone knows what Cards Against Humanity is. It's
You can print it for free.
that was the other thing is that they
If
originally
you have, $300 worth of ink.
Yeah,
they have
I mean,
so many cards.
Cards Against Humanity started out as a party game that you could print and play for free. And so having something that you could play while drinking with friends, we've all played the other card games that are synonymous with drinking, like King's Cup or, something along those lines.
Yes. I'm sorry, but when I was saying that Dungeons and Dragons thing, it's called Dwarven Forge. They are the ones that make the tile
Yeah.
sets for your scenario
Yeah.
that you can make grand like Warhammer.
I think they make the pieces too.
They do. They make everything.
The
Yeah.
The pewter pieces I have, those are, I believe those are Dwarven Forge.
Are they Dwarven Forge?
I believe so.
Yeah, Dwarven Forge. If you guys are looking for stuff for your Pathfinder scenario, Dungeons and Dragons scenario, whatever scenario, look them up. They have some really cool
I
stuff.
believe they do custom as well.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. They have like a city builder and everything. They have dungeon builders. Like it's crazy.
But they also have
So,
just the
I
really
didn't mean to
basic
cut you off
stuff.
about that,
No,
but
that's
I
fine.
remember I was like, it's Dwarven something, but yeah, Dwarven Forge.
You're running a half orc barbarian. They
Yeah.
have half orc barbarians.
Yeah.
But
And
you
then-
want a custom one that's wielding a certain weapon, hit them up.
They'll
they
make
can make
it.
it.
That's neat.
And then if you want, sewers, they have whole set pieces to make a sewer system and
Yeah.
whole forests, castles, everything. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So-
You have this whole parallel business that's not directly. I mean, it's indirectly related to gaming.
Yes.
So I think that's interesting, and that I think that also just shows like how much tabletop gaming has like grown. Is that we have companies who all they do is not create games,
Yeah.
but additions to tabletop
Yeah.
games.
And
What
yet
was
they
that
still make
thing?
enough to survive.
Exactly.
What was that thing that your wife posted? That awesome.
Oh, that was
DM
a
thing.
that was a screen. That was a DM
That was
screen.
incredible.
But it was a custom built DM screen, and it's got it's carved wood, and on the ones on the DM side, it holds a map. It holds a lot of the rules. It has a bunch of stuff pre-written, and then
It
there's
was like
also
modular. It was awesome.
It's modular, so there's pieces you can just open and pull out. On the side, they've got a live roll shoot.
Yeah.
So you just drop it and it rolls out onto the table for everyone to see.
Yeah.
If you're
the private roles and public role
Yeah.
system. It was. I think it's so.
yeah, it
cool.
was pretty cool
It
looking.
was very well thought out. And very,
Yeah.
very
Honestly, I
well-crafted.
don't know for sure, but obviously, Crystal and I went to WonderCon not too long ago. We saw, and I forget the name of the company. I'm gonna kick myself for this. I think they're called Geek Chic.
Mm-hmm.
They made like tables actually for tabletop gaming.
Yeah, it is Geek Chic.
I think this might have been the same company.
Well,
That-
I've seen.
that made that screen.
That screen.
I-
Yes.
really?
I've seen
think.
people do similar things on Kickstarter.
Power of Google.
Where they've made custom DM screens that are hand carved and
But those
depending on
those Geek
what
Chic
your
tables.
support. Yeah,
Oh,
those are very
man.
in depth.
And again, that goes back to your companies who make additions to supporting games, and they still make enough to survive, just because of how much the tabletop gaming is coming back.
Yeah, and
Their tables are so cool.
They really.
They-
The ones that
they're-
like you pull the top off and it's got everything.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
those are really cool.
They have the ones that are built for like a tabletop game with pen and paper, where in front of you is a small little shelf that folds out into a lap desk.
Oh, that's
What
cool.
really?
Because
That's really
Oh,
cool.
that's
the,
awesome.
the side of the table is a 90-degree angle,
Uh-huh.
and it runs alongside of it, but folded into the 90-degree angle is another 90-degree angle. So when you fold it out, you have a desk.
When
Oh,
I
that's
went
really
to
cool.
when I went to the Blizzard headquarters the first time I went for a tour, they have a room there that's it's specific. It's a game room. You walk in, they have like Frostmourne in there on the
Of
wall.
course,
all
of
the
course.
cool WoW stuff and
Yeah.
Diablo stuff, and they just have like libraries. It's like a library of just games.
I thought you said Lightbringer for a second. I'm like, yeah.
But yeah, they have like a library of games. It's crazy. Of anything you can imagine is in there. And then there's a table right when you walk to the door. There's a table. It's huge, a table, and it's one of those tables that you pull out the bottom and it goes on top, and you pull
Yeah.
out the other one, it goes like that. It modules out. And the guy that was giving me a tour, which was the hiring manager there at the time for Heroes of the Storm, he was pulling out all these. He's like, yeah, these guys have been playing for like 9 months. These guys have been playing, blah blah blah. It's just like that table that they had there was like
Holds 4 or 5 different games.
It held like there was more than that. There was huge. I'm pretty sure it was these guys that they got it from though. But it was cool to see like to see like how those tables work and stuff. And it had
If you're curious at all,
on blown stuff. Like it was crazy.
just Google
It was
Geek
awesome.
Chic and check out their tables.
They do a lot
they
of
are
really cool stuff.
incredible.
But yeah, they are the ones that make that. They have like the
Nailed it.
deck carrier.
Yeah.
And
it's just
and
that woodwork seemed like it was familiar to me.
they are very expensive.
Yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
are.
Extremely. A deck
Yes,
carrier.
It's handcrafted stuff.
It's
so.
yeah. Just
It's
the
quality workmanship.
just the dice tower, the piece that rolls in there. It's $100. It's $100. The Rick roller is the other one where you just throw
Yeah.
all the dice in it. $135.
Yeah.
But if I had the money for it,
Oh, yeah.
In a heartbeat.
Well, okay, and here's it's
I
kind
sent
of
my lottery ticket.
it's related to that, but you can see how big tabletop gaming has gotten when you see specific businesses themed around
Yeah.
gaming
Because
and tabletop gaming. Like it just opened this month in Las Vegas is the Geek Bar in Neon Nights on Fremont Street.
Yeah.
They have an entire corner of the bar for tabletop gaming where you can come in with a group, reserve the table, and just play and drink
games
and
and
eat.
drink.
You mentioned something. They get a discount if you do something.
They're doing it for the first 6 months. Is that if you come in cosplay, you get 10% off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So get 10% off your
So
entire
if you come
tab.
in character,
Yeah, if you
That's
come in
sweet.
any kind of cosplay, you'll get 10% off your tab for the entire night.
we should go there.
All right.
Oh yeah,
so
I would love
should
it.
go there
So I
sometime.
need
Yeah.
to. So I need to finish my Commander Shepard cosplay as quick as I can, so that I can go up to the counter and ask them if I could work a discount and say I'm Commander Shepard, or this is my favorite store in Vegas.
I guarantee the
favorite store on
bartenders
the
have
Citadel.
already heard that.
yeah,
That's
but I'll still
probably
get my
happening
10% discount.
You still get the discount.
This is the best bar on the Citadel.
We should go play there. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
That's there's with that too.
and
there's-
it's not just tabletop gaming. They have
it's like an arcade
video game
and-
systems all over.
Which
So you can reserve
We have the
you
One Up bar in here.
We do.
Down in
We have a
SoCal.
barcade.
It's different though.
Yeah.
It
the
is
one
different.
Up, the One Up bar is specifically catered to old
Arcade games.
cabinet
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, but I mean it's similar.
This bar
Is
has like you can reserve the PlayStation table or the Xbox table
Yeah.
or whatever, the Wii table, and just
Man,
like
to go there and play board games like with friends, like in a bar.
I would love that. And they
That would
have
be
and they
so
and they
cool.
have
So
a bunch
fun.
of and they have a bunch of board games. So if you don't bring your own,
They have it.
They have like bookcases
That's
full of
so
them.
So
cool.
you
And
can
it's very-
you can drink your Jack and Coke while you play Lords of Waterdeep, and you won't get as mad when my dumb
Exactly.
strategy
Yeah,
beats your
that
like
was the thing.
thought out strategy.
Lords of Waterdeep is a very strategic game, and I introduced it to you and a couple other friends that we worked with. And I love this game because it's deep strategy, supposedly. Because I cannot
Wow.
physically win this game.
Wow.
I can't.
Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, it's
Deep
not like
strategy.
Okay,
huh?
first of all, it's not like you win every time. You've won once.
I won 3 times.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
I won 3 times. Emily won twice.
No.
No,
That-
you
okay.
hang up. No, you hang up.
But Stuart went through this and explained to me that this was a highly strategic game, and I understood where he was coming from with this. And when you take, one of the points is you take quests or whatever, and you can take these quests once you think you know what the other guys are doing, not to help yourself, but to hurt them. And so Stuart was doing his best to strategize his own plan while also trying to combat our 3 other plans that he was playing against. And most of us, the other 3, were just kind of looking at it like, well, I'm just going to go do me. Like, I'm just going to do me and see what happens. And everyone just kind of did them without trying to take anyone else down. So I think what happened is you spread yourself too thin.
Look what you did.
I think. I don't actually know.
I wasn't there for this, so I don't know.
Either way.
Either
Yeah.
way, Lords of Waterdeep.
Either way, Lords of Waterdeep.
Lot of fun.
It's a great Wizards of the Coast game. It's related to, but this is another example of something that came from D&D because in Lords of Waterdeep, instead of being the heroes of the story, I don't know if you know, Waterdeep is a module for D&D.
Yeah.
Very famous module for
Yeah.
D&D. And instead of being the
PCs.
quest takers, like the people who are given quests, you're the person, you're like one of the shadow cabal of government that runs Waterdeep, and you give quests.
Oh.
So you collect, rogues or wizards or fighters in order to, or clerics to complete these quests, and you send them out to do it while you keep, your shady business dealings.
Oh. See, I've never actually played it. You guys have told me a lot about it,
It's
but
a
I've never
load of
actually
fun.
played it.
It's a,
I
it's
know
a
of
really,
it, but I've
it's a
never
really
played
great game.
Cool.
I enjoy it a lot.
that we should all go play in Fremont.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
should.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Right.
I'm sure they have.
Be
it.
on the lookout for that. I might have-
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
might-
one
that
of
might
the
have
it's
to.
one of the bigger Wizards of the Coast board games.
Hmm.
Anyways, back to what we were talking about. I think with the rise of more serious and more rules heavy games like Warhammer or Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder.
Hero clicks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think Warhammer still wins.
No, it
Well-
does, but those hero clicks
Oh, yeah.
these are nuts.
But then the opposite of that is we're seeing a really big rise in what are called like casual RPGs or rules light RPGs.
Oh yeah.
So you have
Like one-off scenario games where you don't have to spend 9 months.
So
playing.
you have games that are one free and two
Elder
open
Sign.
source.
God.
Elder Sign. I mean, Elder Sign's a board game.
Yeah,
but what I'm
but
talking
still.
about. But what I'm talking about is specifically a game like Dread.
Oh, you're
So-
talking like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
Dread is a tabletop game where all you need is a Jenga tower.
And
Yeah.
possibly some flickering lights for effect.
And possibly some
And a
flickering
dimly
lights.
lit
Yes.
rooms are
So
hard.
so the cool
Yes.
thing
Words are
about
hard, too.
the cool thing about Dread
Rooms are
is
hard. I
that-
said. Sorry.
the cool thing about Dread is that it's a RPG, so you're playing a role. The way I usually run Dread games is I'll just have who's ever playing be themselves, but it's supposed to be
Boring.
Well, I mean,
No.
it's however you
I
want.
know. I
Terrifying.
played
The way
Great.
the way well because when I ran the Dread games, I ran it with people who weren't used to role playing. So my way to get them more comfortable with role playing was just be yourself. Because normally Dread has a rule book. You don't need it, but it'll have different scenarios and it'll have questionnaires that the players fill out beforehand to kind of flesh out the character. The other way you can play Dread is just have a Jenga tower, make up a scenario, and just like you or
Go.
yourself. So Dread is basically instead of rolling
Producer's drinking now.
yeah. How
We've
dare
really-
you drink
we've
while we're
really
shooting,
stressed him
sir?
out.
We shall remain sober at all times.
Oh,
So the
geez.
way that Dread is played is instead of rolling a dice and having a target that you're trying to roll to, like a D20 or whatever.
I need to be an armor class 16,
Yeah.
and with my +4, I need to roll a 12 or better.
Exactly. So instead of that, it's horror based, and you pull a Jenga,
Yeah.
little Jenga tower, or Jenga brick from the tower, and the DM in this case tells you, like, say, like we're in a cabin in the woods, and you're
Good
like,
movie.
and that's one of the that's one of my go-to scenarios for when people
was.
first play it, because the thing about that is that you have to create it like a horror movie. The best horror movies are bottled.
They have nowhere to go.
You're either in a spaceship, you're in a cabin, you're stuck wherever you are
Right.
physically,
Right.
and there's no escape from that.
You're stuck on an island with dinosaurs that want to eat you.
A hospital, yeah, you're bottled. in.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
So generally, that's what I'll do. I'll do bottled things like that. And if you knock over the tower, then you die.
You dead.
So say you're like, oh, I want to try and look for a phone. I was like, okay, well, you need to pull a brick if you want to try and find
You
one.
died while looking for a phone.
It's possible.
It
But
depends
then,
on the
but the other
story.
thing is that you can also refuse to pull a brick, and nothing lethal can happen to you.
But nothing good will happen.
But nothing good will happen. And so it's kind of that balance. And the thing I like to do is when people are like, "Oh, I want to try and like run away," and I was like, "Okay, well, you need to pull a brick to successfully get away." And while they're trying to concentrate on pulling this brick, I'm just constantly over narrating what's happening. Like, you better start moving faster. He's coming up right behind, and just
Right.
because the great thing about Dread is that it transfers that sense of worry about knocking over the tower, and it positions it in that
so
overarching fear of what's happening in the narrative.
most horror games generally are video game based. I would say, in most period. Most horror games also take a look at your Resident Evils. Outlast, was it?
Outlast,
was that the one with the camera? That was pretty good
Dude,
too.
that game was
Outlast
nuts.
was
It was
gnarly.
nuts. But a lot of those are heavily reliant on jump scares. It's
Five Nights
getting-
at Freddy's.
Yeah, it's getting better.
I would say Outlast does not rely
No,
on jump scares.
that relies on the
If you've
environment.
That game was just eerie.
Outlast
in
is
general.
scary because of how well the dev team created psychological horror.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Outlast is one of the scariest games I've ever played, and I will not play it again.
Really?
Shudder. Yeah.
it was
Did you play
terrifying.
the expansion?
I mean, I did.
With the
I didn't think it
husband?
was this scary.
The
Not-
husband?
Not for me.
Battery
no,
dying?
I know
Oh.
exactly what you guys are talking about, but
The
like, no, trust
husband?
me,
I-
it's
that was,
scary.
like, visceral to me.
Definitely say it was scary for sure, for sure.
I was never
However-
frightened by Resident Evil though.
I'm not even gonna say
What-
Resident Evil.
And that's what I'm saying.
Shudder?
Did you guys play? Did you guys play the demo for? Oh my gosh, for that game Hideo Kojima was making at the time, PT.
Oh, the one for it was Silent
It
Hill.
was Silent Hill.
He was
Did you
making
guys
him do
play
Silent
that?
Hill. Yeah.
That scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, I'm not saying
That
it
was
wasn't.
terrifying. And actually, honestly, the fear
But it was-
games scared me a little bit too.
Well, fear is jump scares, and
Yeah.
jump scares don't
That's
like
and that's where I was going. A lot of
psychological
horror games.
stuff.
I mean,
like sticks
I'm
with you.
not knocking the fact that Outlast did not terrify me because it did. Scariest game I ever played? No.
Well, I was just
I don't
trying to go
think,
more towards
but very. It's up there for me.
I was just trying to go more towards the video games rely very, very heavily on jump scares. Most of them do. Whereas Dread doesn't rely on the jump scares. You're trying to pull that brick, and Jenga already by itself, you're getting
stressful
like,
game.
and you're trying, your fingers are shaking. You're like trying to have hands like a surgeon, but you know if you screw up, you lose. So you have this one shot. You can't like. There's no reset. There's no save button. You know that in the back of your mind. And the whole time he's telling you this story to try to frighten you even more.
Yeah.
It really, actually, truly does give you the sense of dread.
I love running Dread games. They're probably one of my favorite things to do is run a Dread game. Yeah. I really enjoyed.
Did
Because
you
There's such like a diverse like amount of scenarios, and like my thoughts about running a Dread game is there's already so many great horror movies. Just plagiarize them completely.
Right.
Because
The most dangerous game.
yeah, the
I
first
wanna do that one.
The first one we did was I just did Werewolf in
was
a
saying,
cabin.
yeah, that was the one
it
you
was
did.
just
Oh,
a
you guys
werewolf
told me about that one.
cabin in
Yeah.
the woods. The second one was
I don't think I was present for that one.
I just did Resident Evil.
Oh, geez.
There were
Oh,
zombies,
yes.
and then there was also a shadowy government.
Oh,
And they were
yay.
trapped in a building.
Yeah, and they were trapped. You always bottle them.
Yeah.
You have to bottle.
Did
them.
you like Silent Hill? Like the original Silent Hill?
I did.
That game
I did.
freak you out so much? Silent Hill scared the crap out of me.
Like I said, jump scares don't like. Okay, so the scariest video game.
Parasite Eve.
The scariest video game of my childhood was I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It had terrible.
we're all
it
in
had-
agreement on that.
It had terrible graphics. It looked wildly unrealistic. It was for Windows 95.
Yeah.
But psychologically, that is scary to me. Like
Yeah.
it messed with your head, and that was why Outlast too. Like
Outlast was very messed
the
up.
husband
Outlast
was a
messed with
terrible.
my
Like for anyone that's played Outlast, I can't go into too much details. But when the husband captures you and you're in that locker and you're watching what he's doing and knowing that what he's doing to that person is about to happen to you,
Yeah. Yep.
that it just gave me shivers. Like that's terrible.
It's
terrible
messed up.
game.
It's very, very messed up.
Yeah.
Very well put together game.
Yeah, they did
but
a
it-
great job.
But
Anyways, board games.
other casual games that come to mind. One that's completely free is Everyone is John,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic game. I love that it's free, and I love how simple it is to play.
Oh, peaches and hot sauce.
Yeah, peaches and hot sauce.
Seduction and bomb making. The
Yeah.
best combo.
For anyone that has heard, Peaches and Hot Sauce has a show, One Shot. It's run by a guy named James D'Amato out of Chicago.
We're all fans.
Yeah, we're all big fans.
all
of
big
him.
fans of you
He's
guys.
Great. They do great stuff over there.
I speak like they're listening to us, but we're all fans.
I mean, they might be.
You never know.
They might one day listen to us.
If you are, tweet us at Really Likable Geeks.
yeah.
Maybe
What's up?
they were the
At
one
Likable
that
Geeks.
commented that Stuart's voice was dulcet tones and we needed more of Stuart.
That would be fantastic. But he ran an Everyone is John game.
Oh, Steve's allergic to my BS.
Sorry.
He ran an Everyone is John game on his One Shot show, and it was
It's everywhere.
exactly like how every other Everyone is John game goes, just completely off the wall insanity.
Yeah.
So, if for people that don't know, Everyone is John is a free to download RPG game. The difference is,
The rules are one sheet.
yeah, the rules are one sheet, so they're very simple to pick up, very simple to understand. You have one person who's the dungeon master, just like every other RPG.
His name is John.
Most of them.
His name is John.
His name is John. And all of the players are a different voice in John's head fighting for control. So you have tokens and you bid for control of John. And then whenever you need to complete a task, you roll. The rub is that each different personality has special skills. In the one that they did for one shot, one guy's skill was bomb making and seduction, and another guy's was running away from danger. And you also have goals. So one person's goal was to lock every door that he could find. Another person's goal was
animals.
Yeah, was to collect as many animals as he could. So he's in a lab and he's just stuffing gerbils and mice in his pants and pockets. And another guy,
Rabbits into his jacket.
That's awesome.
a guy's goal was to get married. So he used his
It took him 3 different seduction rolls, and he made them all. He got married in a bar.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's a fantastic game. I've played a few of it myself, and I've seen everything from like, expert marksman, and then you never find a gun. Just like can never find a gun.
Oh my god!
From what I've noticed, every single Everyone is John game, if you were reading it like a chart, and the x-axis is normal, like time, and the y-axis is normalcy, we'll call it. Over a small period of time near the start, normalcy is pretty low. It's fairly normal. And then out of nowhere, someone will finally get the snowball rolling. Usually it's the DM. And it will just spike. And everything will go nuts from the rest of the game. Just absolute insanity.
Oh my goodness!
So speaking of kind of casual or rules light RPGs, I think you had something to talk about this.
I did?
Yes.
Why don't you jog his memory, because he's drawing a blank right now.
If only we had like some sort of board that would tell us like what topic we're on.
Wait, hang on.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, thanks for all that dead air. That's really interesting to watch and listen to.
Oh, yeah, it's more for watching than listening. My apologies.
If you're listening,
The boring in both ways.
Matt slowly looked over at the board to see what we were talking about. Awesome. But
Awesome is what we're talking about.
He is silent.
I know what I said.
Anyway, so awesome is it's a game that Stuart and I are developing.
Which you guys are aware of if you've been listening.
Yes.
we talked about this for
and
quite some
Shame
time.
on you. Why aren't you listening?
Yeah,
And
I know.
I think
Fools.
I think actually it also falls into the category of absolute insanity that we were mentioning that everyone and John usually goes into.
Yeah. That's what
Yes.
we're shooting for.
We played, tested it.
We did play test, alpha testing.
Why don't you
my
give
math
us
is wrong.
Yeah.
Why don't you give
the
us
listeners
the background, like the one paragraph summary?
The one paragraph
because
summary.
we've talked about
We've talked about it, but we haven't gone into any specifics
we just
on
said
what
that
it is.
All right.
we've been doing a game,
Well,
but nothing
awesome
about it. Yeah,
is an
we're doing a
acronym.
game. That's very vague.
We're making a game. It's awesome. It is. It's an acronym.
It's actually called Awesome.
It is. The acronym stands for Anime High School Ultra Mega Battles.
AHSUMB. Awesome.
The
But
B is silent.
you should put that on the thing with the B silent.
Oh, awesome with an asterisk at the end, and then it says the B is silent. I like it. But
Anyways,
anyway,
it's called Awesome.
it is awesome. And this game it's a rules light RPG where you create a character of sorts, and it follows the characters you create who are high school age classic anime characters.
Yeah, they are.
And you pick what we've called tropes. Stuart came up with this terminology. They're stereotypes that you see in a lot of different animes, and you play out that character in a scenario that the GM will set for you. Usually another classic
Right.
anime stereotype.
Did you have you decided if you were going to provide some basic storylines that people can go off of?
Yeah, I mean, I
Or-
think every rule book has their
Has their base story.
their one story shoot
Their
at the back
campaign.
of the
Default
book.
story.
Yeah, they have their
And
one.
we've been talking about it. We're pretty sure we know which one we're going to lock
Okay.
down.
I was just curious about that
So-
because you came up with one. I wasn't sure if that was the default one that you were
No.
thinking
the
about
idea.
providing.
The idea.
But-
I'm staying away from that on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
The idea.
yeah.
Well, just because I don't want to run that as a test because I want that to be what we put in the book.
Right.
Secret. So the idea we had when we were making the game was we both enjoy rules heavy like Pathfinder.
I would say I play Pathfinder.
Star Wars.
I've played
Well,
D&D
D&D.
since I was
Well, the D20 Star Wars.
The D20 Star Wars, yeah.
But the new Fantasy Flight brand Star Wars game we also enjoy because we enjoy how simplistic.
And while
Not simplistic, but it's simpler than
While I would
D20.
not say
you don't
it's-
need an entire D7 set to play this game.
yeah. While I
In
would
fact,
not
we
say
designed
it's
it around
rules-
just
Not
two
saying that
D6.
that's a bad thing.
no.
No, but sometimes you
but
want
the-
to change it up.
You just
The Fantasy
switch it
Flight
up.
version, I would say, I would personally say it still falls under rules heavy.
I think yes, but we wanted to make a more cinematic game.
Yes. And then on top of that, we were also trying to create a game that was more friendly to someone who had never done an RPG. They can pick it up on the fly.
Yeah.
We wanted to make it very simple. Like
Yeah.
the
It's 2
materials
D6.
required for this,
That's it.
if you don't have your D6, well, guess what you still have in your closet back from family night?
Yeah.
You
can-
break open Monopoly, take out the 2D6, and you can play.
That's it. So that's why we kind of designed it around a 2D6 system
2D6
because
system.
everyone has two pairs of dice or a pair of dice somewhere in there.
During the playtest, it worked very well. I was surprised, actually.
My math is very wrong.
Very wrong.
I mean, we're
We
alpha
got
testing.
wrecked.
We're alpha
Wrecked.
testing. We had a lot of
we got wrecked.
To be fair, you guys didn't get wrecked. You
No.
actually won.
We got wrecked.
You won. It was just...
We got wrecked.
It was a lot closer than I think it should have
on
been.
the
You should
fly,
have wrecked.
on the fly. We had to change some rules.
We got
Yes.
wrecked.
It's arguable what happened, I guess.
We
the
got
point
wrecked.
the point is we had to change some rules on the fly
Did
because
you die?
Almost every time.
But did you?
this is the problem with alpha testing.
we got
is
smashed
that,
on. Smashed, wrecked,
So
destroyed.
if you've ever watched an anime with a high school character
But it was
who
fun.
was like overpowered or larger than life, this is the game that we're trying to create. We're trying to create that aspect of popular Japanese anime that takes a high schooler and implants them into a larger overarching story.
Right.
Something that's
Play
larger
out your
than-
own anime.
Something that should be beyond their ability to fight or overcome or combat, but through whatever means, we have different character. Our character archetypes are anime cliches. We have
Yes.
just the basic magic fighter, which would be your Goku or Ichigo, or anyone that uses magic and fighting.
Right.
There's too many to list. We have what we call our man with a plan, which we call him the 3 L's.
Yeah.
Lupin, Light,
And
L, and Lelouch.
There you
And
go.
yeah,
Lelouch.
Lelouch.
The
He is the
anime,
one.
the anime character that uses his mind
it's been
to
flying around for a
overcome.
while
This
now.
fly is making me mad.
Just ignore it.
I gave consideration to like jumping over there and trying to hit the wall.
We also have, your martial artist, and you can, Kenichi, the strongest disciple,
Right.
whatever. Somehow he learned martial arts in a day, and now he's a master.
He read a book, and all of a sudden he's the best forever.
Yeah, because that
Man.
can only happen in,
If only there was like a
fantasy.
Netflix original that makes it, seem similar.
Yeah, exactly. Or your One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Right.
Rip off anybody.
And
Didn't say he
then
did.
we have,
Oh, I was gonna get him
and then
too.
of course we have to have the magical girl, which is
Sailor
similar
Moon.
but legally distinct from Sailor Moon.
Yes.
Yes.
We made sure of that. But I mean, there's other animes besides Sailor Moon that has magical
Yeah,
girls or
Bleach
boys.
has it too. You got the
yeah,
healer girl. You got
It does.
There's all sorts
Twelve
of
Magica
anime.
Madoka.
Yeah, that was the one I
Yeah.
was thinking of. So
Yeah, there's tons of them.
if you're a fan of
Magical
Glitter
anime,
Force.
and even if you're not, we kind of designed it to be kind of over the top action. And I think
Do we want to talk about the characters that we rolled and
uh,
the types? Is that okay or no?
let's kind of keep specifics.
You want to
out.
keep some?
Yeah, let's keep the
Okay,
real
cool.
specifics out.
I was
Keep it
really proud
general.
of my character.
We're
Just saying.
we're broad stroking a lot of stuff because we're still trying to work out.
You did power up and punch 3 dudes in the face.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea. Is
I
like
just like the type
the
of
character,
character.
the
I had. It was
PCs
awesome.
can take out waves of NPCs at a time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea. And then
Yeah.
there's the one
main
rival
guy.
that you know.
We tried to set it up so that there's different classes of enemies, and there's always, if you've ever watched any animes, there's always the one
Cannon
villain
fodder.
that just they never beat until the end of the fight, like the end of the season or the series. There's numerous sub-villains that pop up, and they last, maybe a series, maybe a few episodes. They're enough to be annoying, but they don't just get wrecked. And then there's numerous cannon fodder, whatever type of anime you're watching, that just one hit and hundreds go flying.
Yeah.
Unless you're One Punch Man, then everything is
Everything is
destroyed with
dead
one punch.
instantly.
One punch. Yeah, you kind of made
got
a One
wrecked.
Punch Man.
You made a One Punch
You
Man.
made a
Yeah.
One Punch Woman.
One Punch Woman.
That's true.
It was fun. It was a good time, and we're gonna be play testing that again soon. I'm
We're
assuming.
still trying.
still
to
working
work
out some kinks.
Yeah.
some mathematical kinks about
But-
what does and does not work.
With
I
how
think
with
I've
how many
solved
like
one of the biggest ones.
with how many pen and paper games I played and stuff, or pencil and paper games I played, it's definitely one that I would be down to sit around like I would be playing a D&D scenario and sit around and play. Same thing.
Well, even
But also I don't know, maybe it's because it caters to me and because I play anime or I watch anime and I
even
play
after the
Persona and all
playtest
that
and my
stuff,
math
it's like,
was wrong, after running it and watching the 4 of you, I realized it did exactly what Stuart and I had planned
we
on
wanted.
it doing.
It did exactly what
It
we
did
wanted.
exactly
we
what
didn't
we
want
wanted.
people to focus on the minutia of rules.
Right.
We wanted the rules to be vague enough where we had Joey say like, "Can I do this?" "Yep, go ahead and do that."
I
And
had
that's
no
what we
rules
wanted.
in there, but when she said it, I went, "Okay, yeah. So you're gonna do this, and then everyone else will have to do this," and I just kind of made it up on the fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what we wanted was.
There was like something that like was too much, you were gonna tell me.
If there was something, obviously there's if something,
That one thing.
yeah. If there's obviously
Yes.
there are limits to it, but we wanted to more broad stroke things so that it's more open to interpretation and fun.
And this is why we took tropes, the stereotypes, from a lot of different places that you wouldn't normally find. So we took tropes from characters that you would not find in a school setting in most animes that you would watch. But because the school setting is such a popular and common anime stereotype, that's where we had everything just kind of fall.
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't, juxtapose them outside of a high school. It's
Of
just,
course not.
It's just high school is such a cliche with anime
yeah, very.
that we just had to.
They could go anywhere, but they're
Oh,
all
yeah.
high school students.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that was just kind of how we had to put it.
Yeah.
Because, what anime do you watch that the main character isn't 16?
One Punch Man.
Unless
That
they're
was
a
the only
vampire,
thing.
in which case they're 400. But they look
but
16.
But they are in high school.
They
Rurouni-
are, because they look
They're in
16.
high school, but they're
They're 400.
Rurouni Kenshin, Hellsing.
Kenshin.
Kenshin was in his 20s.
Yeah, Kenshin was like
Kenshin
20
was
something.
like 20.
Kenshin was 30. But Kaoru was high
She
school.
was, 20s. No, she was in her 20s.
She was 17.
Man, people know way more about this anime than I do, apparently.
Yep.
Completely off. False as what I was
No,
saying
because,
about him. About
well,
that,
because
but,
you have to remember that during the war of the war,
Almighty
Kenshin-
Google!
Kenshin was 16 or 17, and then there was like a 10, 12-year gap. So he was like almost 30 when the show started. Because in Samurai X, he's like
Well,
15, 16.
he'll find out, and
Either
we'll
way.
settle this argument. But for right now, let's wrap up the awesome.
Yeah, so that's the game we're making. I didn't know how you want to wrap that up.
Sweet rap, bro.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll have more as we figure out
We'll keep alpha testing.
mechanics
I'll get my math right.
eventually. So
I was good at math in high school. I don't know what happened.
I think it was just that we we thought something was going to happen more often than it did.
I think what I did is I played too much on the averages, and I didn't take any consideration into the actual time frame.
Yeah.
I just went, on average, this should work, and it did. On average, you guys beat the tar out of things. It's just that I didn't give much consideration to how long it would take to go around.
It was too many.
Oh, you were right. At the start of it, he was 17. Start of it. If you go off of
Almighty Google.
If you go off of the
all-knower of all things.
If you go off of the show, she's 17. If you go off the manga, she's not.
Yeah, they changed it.
I'm going off of the manga. That's what was the point I was saying. But don't do that to me. That's all you ever do.
In the manga,
get out of
she's
here
young-
with
in
that.
the
That's
manga,
all you
she's
ever
younger,
guys do
isn't
is
she?
go off the manga. Go off the manga.
Isn't in the manga she's younger?
No, older.
Oh, interesting. Anyways,
According to that. So
Google
Either
knows
way,
what does
everything.
Google
I
know?
believe it. I believe Google. Google knows everything.
what does Google know?
yeah.
They know your
But
home
he did start at
address.
28. He ended 30. So yeah. So you're right. And we were both right about that.
It was
at
just
30.
because I remember the amount of time between the war and
You're talking about for the OVAs, right?
yeah, well,
Okay.
between the revolution and when this TV series starts is like a 10, 12 year
Yeah.
gap.
Yeah. It's quite a huge jump.
Because it was the Edo
Yeah.
period where you weren't allowed to carry around swords anymore
Yeah.
and all that.
They were turning into more westernized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Anyways, board games.
yeah, board games. So
Tabletop games.
Yeah.
April 29th.
yeah.
The future.
The future. What's coming down in the future of tabletop gaming?
Well, tabletop gaming, I think, is going to be around forever. Personally, I would hope so in some capacity.
In some form.
There's even
in some
like
form.
there's so many things with
I mean, look at Star
companies
Wars.
are trying to take old classic games and put a new twist on it. Like there's that 3D chess. Have you seen that? It's just chess. Let's throw a twist on it.
I
It's
saw
on
it
multiple
20 years ago in Star Trek.
on multiple. No, okay,
No, that's holographic chess.
that's holographic.
No,
chess.
it's not. 3D chess was 25 years ago in Star Trek.
Oh, Star
It's-
Trek.
it's Star
Sorry.
Trek.
Yeah, it's
I'm talking about-
I went Star Wars.
3D
I'm not-
chess is from Star Trek.
Anyway.
You tell it, Stuart. You tell me what I'm talking about.
You're talking
Yeah.
about the 3-layered multi-level
Yeah,
chess.
that was available to the public back 20 whatever years it was.
Yeah, from Star Trek.
I had no idea. Anyways, I'll just go kill myself in the bathroom. Go ahead.
I'm sorry that it came out before you knew about it. I don't.
That's not what I was getting at, but go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead. What
No,
were you
I'm
saying?
good.
Well, you were saying like it was a new thing, and it's not.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I'm just-
Unless you're saying
I'm not saying
because-
it's a new thing. I'm
unless
just
you're
saying somebody
saying
threw a
because
twist on it. How long has chess been
future-
around? How long has chess been around?
Hundreds of years.
Okay, thank you.
I
And
feel
then just
like it's
20 years
thousands.
ago,
Didn't the Chinese make it?
they threw a twist on it, right?
Go and shogi. I mean, have been around for thousands of years.
Oh.
But I think you're specifically
They threw a
talking
twist
about
on it. It took that long for them to,
Western-
in the
Western
future
chess.
to throw a
Okay,
twist
yeah.
on an old classic game by making it multi-level.
Mhm.
I don't feel that 20 years ago. Yeah, okay, 20 years ago, that's a while. It's still considering that chess has been around for that long. 20 years. That's not that old. It's still pretty new. How many people do you know have one of those in their
I
house?
know
or how many
you
people
hate
have that?
Star Trek.
Jeez, it's not
but-
even the point.
Okay, I think the
What
point.
classifies as new then for you?
I
The new
think-
twist on an old classic game. What is that? 6 months, day, a month,
I think
a week?
the point
what?
Steve's trying to make here, though, and I'm with you. I'm with you on
Jeez.
this one.
I'm glad you are.
It's a long. It's a long.
I don't understand. Like,
period
that's the
of
point I'm
time.
trying to make. What's the future hold for old classic games like this? How
3D
twist?
chess. Well, technically,
That's the whole point I'm making is that they're throwing a
technically,
twist on
3D
it.
chess has not come out yet because
was-
Star Trek takes place in the future.
I was on your side. Can I, please? Anyway, I think what Steve's trying to get at, and correct me if I'm wrong. This is just what I'm hearing. It feels like what you're trying to say is more so just like technology has advanced exponentially recently comparatively to the past. If you look at those older games that have been around for hundreds of years, no one's put a new spin on them until mostly recently.
We'll have to wait
even
till
if
Star
it
Trek
was-
does it.
Even if it
We
was
do- we
roughly
have to
20
That's the
wait.
only
years
point
ago.
The
I'm
future.
trying to make. Gotta wait until Star Trek does it.
future.
Do I not get to finish? I'm trying to back you up.
I appreciate that. Nothing you do is gonna change anything.
It doesn't feel like you do. You
I
cut
do
me
agree
off
with
like
you.
3 times.
No, I agree with you. I agree with, and I appreciate what you're trying to do, but it's not gonna matter.
Anyway,
so frustrated.
It
I
just
don't
it
know
feels
why.
like the new things that we're doing to games are happening more and more often now, and even more so now than they were 10, 20 years ago, because it's kind of like technology. It's jumping it forward.
Yeah, we have a renaissance. I mean, what you said is perfectly accurate. We have a renaissance in tabletop gaming. I think another big thing is, are you going to be upset about this the whole time?
Yeah.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Thank you. I think
I said that exact same thing. I was getting to that point.
It took
You won't
too
let me
long.
get there. You
So
always want to
long.
complain. You're going to let me get there? Let me get there.
See how annoying that is?
God.
See how bad that
So
is?
I did read that right.
You
though.
did. You
Okay.
read it right. I'm glad you agree with him.
I agree
Continue.
with you too.
Yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
Wait. Substitution property. I said I agreed with you. He agreed with me. Therefore, he agrees with you.
Vicariously, I agreed with
Oh,
you.
my gosh.
Anyways, I think another
Go team us.
really likable geeks.
Roll credits.
Roll credit. Another
Grub. I'm not so grub. And we're the game grubs. Sorry.
another relatively new thing in tabletop gaming is something called legacy gaming,
Yes.
where, for example, there is pandemic.
Those are the games that never end.
yeah,
That's what a legacy game is. It's a game that
mean,
basically, no matter how many times you play it,
Its
will
legacy
never change.
goes on
It
into
goes
the
on.
future.
Yeah, so
And
if you've
on
Until
and
Star
on
Trek.
and
If you've
on
ever-
and on.
And then you have 3D
Star
chess.
Trek.
Which is incredible.
So, for
it's
example,
a genius idea.
For
I don't know why it's taking us this
example,
long to make up something like that.
I mean, you
pretty
know,
Renaissance.
new ideas. So, for example, for the people that don't know what legacy gaming is, you take a game like Risk, which is a popular board game, been around for a long time, and can't think of the name of. Can you look this up? The guy who created Seafall and Risk
Oh,
Legacy and
it's,
Pandemic Legacy. I can't think
yeah.
of his name.
For now, he will be Jim.
I think his name is Matt.
So,
Actually,
Jim.
Okay.
but he created Risk Legacy. It was basically he took Risk and he added a bunch of caveats to the rules wherein, say the three of us play a game of Risk, right? And one of us wins, doesn't matter who. Whatever we...
Go, Steve. You're the best.
Yeah, Steve wins. So the way
Steve took over the world.
So the way Steve won now puts a new set of rules. So say Steve plays with three other guys. The way that Steve won now affects that next game, and so on and so forth. So it's an ever-evolving game of Risk with different rules being implemented or subtracted. He also created a game designed specifically around that, and it won a bunch of awards last year.
J.R. Honeycutt and Rob DeVoe.
Yeah,
DeVoe, I think it's called.
yeah,
DeVoe.
Jim, JR. Close.
yeah.
Jared Blando, Brian Valeza. Iron Wall Games.
Yeah, he created a game and it won a bunch of awards, and it was heralded as like the greatest tabletop game ever, called Seafall.
The game takes a long time, too.
It's also very expensive.
Yes.
Takes a few
It's
hours.
hard for
You're talking
me-
like maybe was it like $70?
I believe it was
$80?
80.
It was. It's.
I believe the basic edition was 80.
Is 80?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Get that game and set aside at least 2-3
It's
hours.
hard to justify
At least 2
paying
to 3 hours.
$80 for a board game.
That's totally worth it. It's totally worth it.
I mean,
There's a couple of
it might be-
companies that make games that are like Mayfair. I'll buy Mayfair games. All Mayfair games. And I'm not just saying Catan, but just all of them.
I feel like I would like to sit down.
But Catan
and
isn't
play.
$80.
That was close. Was it like 40 or 50
$25
bucks?
at Target.
Is it?
We were there the other day.
I have.
I would say with all the expansions,
hold
it
on,
might
wait.
be 80.
If I have the Seafarers version of that game.
Well, that's an expansion.
That expansion cost me like $50.
It was $25 at Target.
I have one. Okay, maybe that's my fault. I have the original versions. I don't have the
Okay.
American
Well, I mean,
version.
obviously the price drops
Yeah.
after a while.
Yeah.
There's so
But
many.
no,
There's
I
Cities
bought
and Nights, Seafarers, all
Barbarians.
That. Barbarians.
I feel like Seafall's
That
one
game
of those
could get
games
very
where
expensive.
it has so
Yeah.
much hype and
But
it
the
looks
basic
so
game-
good.
the basic game is like
for Seafall
it's like
is
$80.
$80.
$80. Yeah.
and
the
I
basic for Catan's
feel
like
I
20,
feel
30
like
bucks,
I would
probably.
like to sit down and play it with someone who has it, and that would probably allow me to go, yeah, I'll justify the $80 for this if it's really that good.
So the cool thing
That
is
game's
that
totally worth
so the
it.
cool thing
80
is that
bucks is
in
worth it.
Seafall you have the rule book and you have how you play the game, and it's about going out and being a pirate and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And at certain points in the game box also comes with 6 treasure chests. And when certain things happen,
criteria has been met.
Yeah, criteria has been met. The rule book tells you, okay, open this box and introduce these new game pieces, cards, and rules into the game. And now the game is altered. The other thing that happens is they have these stickers and pens, and you fill out like, oh, this person went to this island and this happened there. So now that's how that island is for everyone that plays it for the rest of the game. So in theory, if Matt has a game of Seafall and I have a game of Seafall and you also have a version of Seafall, if we play it separately with other people, we will end up having very different games.
Yep.
So the idea of legacy gaming and tabletop is very cool. It's a very cool idea. However,
It gives the game replayability.
it does.
Could you
Because it
feasibly do
changes.
something like that with like Dungeons and Dragons? Just constantly,
that's-
constantly.
that is Dungeons and
constantly-
Dragons,
Well,
so.
no. Eventually, you'll get to the end of the book. Eventually, you'll get to the end of the scenario. You do the same thing in Seafall, of course, but.
Well, the
I mean,
thing
could
with-
you make it to where it just never ends?
Yeah, I mean,
Could you?
eventually you get so high in the level. Like eventually you hit level cap.
The thing with Seafall is that the rules change, and like he was saying, if we all had different games and we played different versions with different people, at the end, after we've done all the boxes and all the legacies that we could do, our games are going to be very, very different. As you said with like Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, you could run the exact same campaign with a different group of people using different characters and get a completely different game.
Yeah.
Because now you have
Which is cool.
You have no melee characters this time. It's going to completely change your dynamic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Legacy
it's-
games are so cool.
Yeah.
They
There needs to
are.
be more
They're
of
a
those.
very cool idea. I love Pandemic. It's a fun game.
That you can't win.
I can't. No. Have you ever played a game of Pandemic that you've won?
No.
That game's hard.
It's
One
the
exactly
opposite.
hard.
Okay, I have played a
Pandemic
Flash
is the one where it's got the big world map and you're
Yeah.
trying to cure the different diseases and viruses.
I never played it, but you told me about it.
It's okay. Have you played the Flash game? And I forget the name of the game, but it's
Outbreak.
Pandemic. Or no, not Pandemic.
You guys were just talking about
Epidemic.
that. Epidemic.
It's Outbreak.
The Flash game is Outbreak.
Yes.
Okay.
Where if you
You
don't
are
get
the
it,
virus.
if you don't get into Madagascar at the beginning,
And you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you are the virus.
Outbreak 2.
You are the virus in that game, and you use DNA points to evolve it to be more contagious, but also try
Really?
to keep. Yeah.
Yeah, have you never
That's
seen that
awesome.
Flash game?
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
No, that
Play it. It's
sounds-
free. It's amazing.
Huh. I'll have to
you-
try that.
It's a lot
Get
of
into
fun.
Madagascar immediately because they close their ports for no reason.
Okay.
And they don't have an airport, and there's no borders. So if you can't get in by boat, you can't kill Madagascar.
Get into Madagascar, guys.
Immediately.
If you want
They
an
close
outbreak
their
of a
ports
disease-
for no reason.
Yeah, someone coughs.
Anyone that's played this game knows exactly what I'm talking about.
someone in Norway goes, and Madagascar's like, whoop, shut it down. Nope, no one in.
Nope. Got to protect those Chris Rock zebra and penguins for some reason. Why were there
Pandemic
penguins
is
in Madagascar?
Pandemic is the reverse. It's
You saw the
flip.
movie? You know how they got there?
I don't agree with it.
Pandemic's the reverse. You're the humans trying to
So
cure
you have
the
different.
outbreak.
You have different like character cards. So like one person's a doctor, one person's the pilot. It's like have you played like Forbidden Island or Forbidden Desert?
Yeah, actually.
It's like, you know how you have the character cards? It's like that, except the entire globe.
Really?
So there'll
how
be
long
like-
does that game take? Does it take a while?
It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not bad.
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
I feel like I could play that game all day and have fun. It's a disease.
No.
You can't win.
You can't win. Cannot win that game.
You can't
Everyone
win.
dies.
Has anybody won that game? If you have, let us know.
There ain't gonna be a lot. That guy.
If you let us know that you won that game,
Yeah.
We'll call you a liar.
you need to go to church and confess your sins because you are a liar.
Yeah, and you're a cheater. That's the only way to win that game. You cheater. Stop cheating.
Let's play that game. That sounds like fun.
Let's do it.
It's the same thing. Target 25.
April
bucks.
29th,
Cool.
It's head target.
Tabletop Day.
So we need to wrap up. Tabletop games are fun. Board games are fun. Everything's card games are fun.
Ever evolving.
Yeah, we didn't really get into too much about card games, but I feel
Right.
like a lot of card games. Well, if you want to touch on that really quick, I feel like card games are all basically the
Magic
same
is complicated.
no. I'm talking like
Smash Up is Magic.
apples, cards Against Humanity,
Those are all the same.
Crabs Against Humidity, Adjust Humidity.
all the
Crabs
same.
Adjust
They're all the
Humidity.
same. It's just how much. I feel like those have become how much more. What can we get away with?
I feel
How
like
horrible
we
can we
didn't,
be?
Yeah,
we didn't
what
talk
can we
about,
get away with?
We didn't talk about Cards Against
There's a
Humanity
game called Dirty Minds
because we can't
I own that game.
say
I do
any
too,
of the
but-
cards and get in Cards
Yeah,
Against
we
Humanity.
So
The bigger blacker
it's just,
box.
it's just, I mean, of course, those games are great. They're good party games, but I don't know. They're all the same. I don't really feel
enjoy
like
them.
they're reinventing anything.
But they do their
They're
job.
pushing the envelope.
You get
at
a
all.
bunch of people together, and when they play, they laugh and had a good time.
That's the purpose of
They
it.
do a good job
Like,
of that.
I was really stoked for Rooster Teeth's $1 Million Butt. Great game. Great game, but it's Cards Against Humanity.
I mean, a really simple card game that we used to play was Coup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very simple, easy to pick up.
They're all the same. I don't really
just
feel like
BS.
that there's any card-based family party
Coup
games
is,
that are
Coup is BS,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
With
I-
like
I don't
a
feel there's
specialized
any
set of cards.
card games or party game card games that are really pushing the envelope that are like really reinventing the way that they're done. Really,
No.
I'm not. I just
But I will say they do a great job.
Yeah.
they're still
You
fun.
get people together, they start
But-
laughing and having a good time and saying things we can't say on the air.
Yeah, I mean, Smash Up is different.
Smash Up's fun.
It's Magic the Gathering.
The DC, the DC and Marvel deck building games. What are they called? Legacy.
The Munchkin.
Munchkin is
Well,
another
those are different
card
though.
game.
Because
It's
no,
a
I'm talking
card-based game.
specifically card games. Like
Yeah,
games
the-
like Apples to Apples. There's no board. It's just cards.
I mean,
Well, the
Cards
DC
Against
one,
Humanity,
the
just
DC
cards.
one
Crab
doesn't need
Just
a board
Humanity, just
either.
cards.
the
like-
board in Munchkin is literally only there to serve to
In
get
fact,
you from
can
1
play
to 10.
Munchkin without the board.
You
I
don't
know.
need
I
the
have.
board.
I have.
It's
but,
all card.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's different. I'll talk. Like I said, party based, like anybody, like you can play with like 50 people just putting a
Yeah.
card down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out what the best one is. There's so many of them out there. That's
Okay.
what a lot of those games specifically have
I will
come
say there
to.
is one game
And they're not
that
pushing the
I've
envelope at all.
played only card only that's a party game that to this day I think is probably one of the better ones I've ever played. It was called Curses,
Oh yeah,
and you end up
Flux.
that's a good one too. But with
Red flags.
Curses you draw a curse
red flags.
and you play it on someone. And then you draw another card that's an action, and you have to do what this action says. But the problem is you have curses on you. And these curses range in things like your elbows are now glued together for the rest of the game, or your wrists are glued together for the rest of the game.
Yep.
Or you have to keep your hands on your head for the rest of the game. Or you have to talk like Scooby-Doo. Or you have to talk like a pirate. Right. So you are now Scooby-Doo
impression.
and pirate, and your hands are glued to your head for the rest of the game.
R.
And most of your friends playing with you aren't going to help you. So go ahead, draw that card. It's your turn with your hand stuck to your head. And then when you finally
Curses is great.
When you finally manage to draw the card, it says demonstrate how you would shave your invisible cat. So you have to do that while being Scooby-Doo pirate with your hand stuck to your head. And if you forget if you forget any of these and anyone
impression.
calls you on it, then you have to flip that curse over. It's strike 1. When you reach strike 3, you're out, but you get to distribute all your curses to everyone else, and it's just a game of last man standing. But it's just to get people to be stupid.
Another specific card game that actually uses really interesting cards that I've never seen anyone else have is Gloom.
Don't think I've ever played that.
Gloom. Gloom.
I know the Pokemon.
That's what I'm referring to. Gloom. So Gloom is a card
That
game
was sarcasm.
where
That's why he rolled his eyes.
every player.
Just looking at you when you said it, I didn't see it.
Gloom is a card game where every player is a different family, and it's basically like if Tim Burton created a card game, this is what it would be. So so you'll be the Walcuts, and I'll be whatever family and whatever, and we each have like 4 family members.
Okay.
And the point of the game is you have these see-through cards, and you're trying to cause the most misery to happen to your family members before they die. So the more horrible things that happen to them, like, the youngest Walcott was beaten up at a circus by a clown. And it's like plus 10. And then the end goal is to kill them, to have them die with the most plus points. But then I can also play cards on your person, like, you're the matron of the family, found true love, and it's minus 10 points.
We need to play this.
It's a Gloom. I'm surprised you. It's a very. It's,
Never
it's
heard
been
of
around-
this.
It's been around for like
It
15,
was like super messed up
15 years.
card-based version of Oregon Trail.
Yeah, well, they have that too. Oregon Trail card game,
Yeah,
which is also fun. But yeah, Gloom, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't heard
I've
about it.
never heard of
It's-
this.
It's
No.
But
it's older,
I'm
15
totally
years or
gonna look
so.
at this.
I'm
That,
down.
that sounds awesome.
Gloom. It's hard to
Sounds amazing.
find now because it went out of print. But after it was featured on Tabletop, thank you. It was featured on Will Wheaton's Tabletop, and then it like
Blew up
blew back
again.
up. So you can probably find it.
Have to check that out.
Yeah,
Sounds
Gloom.
great.
That's a
So-
good card game.
Tabletop games, card games, dice, and
RPGs.
pen and pencil,
Pencil
paper
and paper.
games, great games.
April 29th is
April
coming.
29th
Play them.
is International Tabletop Game. Play some board games.
Play some board games, guys.
You know, if you don't have any, there's all sorts of
Go to your
simulators
parents
on
and
Steam.
tell them
Target-
mandatory family night.
If
We're doing some board
everyone
games.
lives near a Target or a Walmart, and
or Walgreens.
yeah,
Or Rite Aid.
here's just a quick list of games that I know for a fact that Target and Walmart have that are non-traditional board games that if you've only played Monopoly, you might not
Catan.
be. So Catan is one of them. Pandemic.
Elder Sign. Elder Sign's at
they
Target.
won't- Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Elder Sign, Betrayal at House on the Haunted or Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Yeah.
Um,
All the Cards Against Humanity.
Ticket to Ride is on there.
All the
Ticket to
Appalachian-
Ride is a fantastic
Yeah.
game.
There's a whole bunch.
What's the one where you're the kaiju battling for Tokyo?
Oh, King of Tokyo.
King
King of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you. King of
It's on
Tokyo
there.
is a fantastic game.
Munchkin's there.
Yeah.
You get
Munchkin is there. These are all fantastic games.
All great games.
that you
They're-
can find
that
at
are
Target and
relatively
Walmart.
cheap.
Yeah,
They're on the cheaper
They're
side.
usually around $19.99.
Yeah.
yeah. Catan's only like $20.
Yeah. For the starter edition, get that. I swear, but I love Catan. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Catan. I'm like, I love Catan. It's a good time.
I enjoy it.
It's super
Yeah,
fun.
it was
You
good.
know, it's a game of building yourself up and just screwing
It's a
people
game
over as
of
hard as you
giving
can.
wood for sheep.
Yeah. And
Does anybody have
Brick
wood
for
for
wheat.
my sheep?
does anybody have bricks for my wheat?
Do you have wood for my sheep,
Yeah. Oh no, the barbarians attacked. I get nothing.
Steve?
Oh, I have wood for your sheep.
Okay.
I need to build that road, dude.
Yeah.
If you guys ever play Catan, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Everybody's got wood.
Everybody's got wood.
And on that bombshell,
All
Wood for
right.
sheep.
Thank you guys for listening.
guys.
So let's talk about wooden sheep and roads and board games and card games. You can find us on iTunes and Google Play. If you're listening to us, I'm assuming you're on one of those two platforms. You can watch us on YouTube. Which, if you're watching us, I'm assuming you're watching us on YouTube. You can
you
watch.
better be. We're not
Unless
anywhere
you're
else.
the government, in which case, stop spying on us.
You can watch us on Twitch. I'm assuming that if you're watching us on Twitch, you already knew that, but you can watch us on Twitch on Mondays at 2 o'clock, twitch.tv/likablegeeks. You can watch the podcast before it gets released anywhere else. What? Brian's looking around like there's monsters and stuff.
Yes, we're ignoring
Yeah,
it.
we're ignoring
There's
it.
poltergeist. Get over it.
There's a lot going on.
Look,
There's
it's not going to
sounds
be a
and
problem
flies
until
and-
you die. Then we'll worry about
Yeah.
First of all,
it. You know why.
don't
We don't
lie.
need to say why.
You know exactly why.
Stuart, don't you lie. We're not going to worry about it.
So you can watch us on Twitch on Mondays, 2 o'clock. You can watch us here and hear the podcast, obviously, before it goes up on YouTube or on any of the audio platforms. Twitch.tv/likablegeeks. Search us on YouTube. Really Likable Geeks to find us. We don't have a vanity URL yet, but once we do, we'll be plugging that as with the vanity URL. Website is almost done. I wanted to make sure that was known because we've been in the works for that for a couple weeks now, right? 2 weeks. A lot of things going to be on there. There's going to be a lot of merch. We have some shirts going up soon.
Merchandise.
Yeah, we're going to have some really cool shirts going up. Some really cool...
Scriptures are written in Latin.
Likeable shirts.
yeah, really likable shirts. God, Stuart.
Anyways, keep going.
Really cool artists are doing some stuff for that. We'll plug them once the shirts are available. You'll be able to find them on our website soon here. And we are also adding another show to the Really Likable Geeks brand.
There's going to be another Really Likable Geek?
Well, yeah, there is.
Technically likable geeks.
Billy,
is what we're calling it.
Billy from Hardest is joining.
Oh, I like that guy.
Yeah, you do.
I really like that guy.
Billy is joining me. We were starting another podcast, another show called The Module. It's all tech, computers, video games, TVs, phones, everything tech. We're starting that up. Our first episode is actually going to be this week. Should be up Thursday, which I don't know what date that is. But if you're watching on Monday, it'll be up on Thursday. And if you're listening to the podcast on Tuesday, it'll be up on Thursday. So be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to watch it on YouTube. And if you search it on iTunes and Google
Is he
Play,
bringing his
it'll
own
be on
chair?
there. I don't think that matters.
I'll let him sit in mine.
Oh, you're so nice.
It does matter.
Okay.
But
We'll remove your chair for that.
good. Don't touch it.
How are they going to
How
remove
dare
it? How are they going to remove it without touching it?
With your mind powers.
Oh yeah, true. So be on the lookout for that. We look forward to welcoming him to our shenanigans,
So stupid.
and
Break your chair when you're
it's
gone.
going to be a very good time. So, thank you guys for listening and watching. You can find me on Twitter at that Stephen Brown.
You can usually not find me at Twitter at Believe the Weave.
And you can find me at Stu_, no last name.
And you can find the podcast on Twitter as well. Likable Geeks, Facebook, Likable Geeks, just all social medias, as Matt would say.
All the social medias.
Just Likable Geeks. And get updates of when we're going live and when the podcast is up and other shenanigans that we're doing.
Usually from you two, because I don't tweet.
You do shenanigans.
I do shenanigans.
You do shenanigans. So, all right. Well, thank you guys for listening and watching. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.